Hello and welcome to the show. This week's FailRace versus the community, we were racing some B-Class Japanese cars. Our first race was at the Road America West alternate circuit, and amazingly, everybody made it through sort of this turn 1, turn 2 area cleanly, which is very, very rare for such a tight, narrow little chicane. Unfortunately, that wouldn't last, as the hand of lag would dictate cars shall go flying up ahead as you see them bouncing around the track. This group of vehicles were fortunate, we were kind of fortunately far enough back so that the cars that were affected were kind of flung across the track before we ever got there. But you can see it was not particularly happy. The MR2 we're following has a go up the inside of the BRZ, or is it GT86, not sure quite which one. Yeah, you could see that the game was jumping around. It wasn't best pleased at the start of this race. At the front, and well, this was the group of cars that made it through the opening lap lag chaos. Leading the way was a Mitsubishi GTO. That was coming under pressure, though, from a Nissan Silvia. The Silvia tried to get to the inside, ran on the grass, lost a lot of momentum. An MX-5, which had a Nissan Skyline throwing at it on the first lap, was amazingly still going and putting up a fight trying to find his way past the Silvia. Couldn't really do anything, though, in towards turn 1, as the Toyota runs a little bit wide with the wheel on the grass there. The Silvia, though, has much better straight line speed than the Mitsubishi as they come down the back straight. He gets to the inside. The Mazda is quicker than the pair of them. He's got two wheels on the grass to get to the inside. They made it 3 wide briefly down this front straight. The Silvia's on the inside, though. The Mazda can't really do very much around the outside. The Mitsubishi has to concede the point, just hasn't got the speed to keep up with these two cars, whereas the Mazda is going a little bit sideways in the background. The field very, very quickly spread out. Mitsubishi would be involved in an accident and have his car wrecked. This became the battle for third between a Toyota GT86 and the Subaru Impreza as we come towards the first turn. A horrible, horrible bump here that you've got to be wary of. Can do mean things to your car. The Toyota couldn't really do anything about the Subaru through the first corner. The Impreza having decent corner speed, however, it lacked that straight line speed. So the second they left turn 1, it's got absolutely no response for the Toyota. He can out-drag him down towards the next corner. Subaru thinks he's kind of got his nose positioned to have a look up the inside, but it's just not quite close enough. Now, I would be involved in another crash further back, so there was quite a lot of battered vehicles around the place. My Nissan was quite poorly. That wasn't an intentional dive particularly there. The NSX braked a little bit early, and I had dodgy brakes and braked a little bit late, and I kind of fired my my car up the inside. Amazingly, I got it stopped, I got away with it, and we were to have probably the most exciting battle of the entire field. In the closing laps, not very much happened elsewhere, except for this battle that was over 5th place. As I mentioned about the horrible bumps at turn 1, the NSX found them. If you hit them just wrong, it launches the back of your car up into the air, which sends you sideways, which sends you off the track, and in this case, it gave me the position, but I have very little in the way of straight line speed in quite a poorly Nissan. The NSX is right back trying to get past. I go defensive, try and hold it under brakes, and the Honda doesn't quite fancy going around the outside, so my 240SX can keep the position for now, but I knew it was going to be a very difficult one to try and defend, because yeah, my car was absolutely ruined. Broken suspension, brakes, aero, all of it was gone. The engine itself was okay, which was useful at least. I could put up a fight, but it was only so much of a fight. I thought I had a big enough gap back, didn't cover the inside. The NSX had a dive, and there was nothing I could. Once I'd realised he was close enough and I hadn't moved across to defend, I knew I was in trouble, because going around the outside was going to be really, really difficult for me. Fortunately, though, the NSX would get things wrong. I'm not sure if he put a wheel on the grass on the inside. He ran wide either way, and I could get the position back. And we continued like this. As I said, it was a pretty good fun battle. Despite cars not being the healthiest, it was, yeah, a really rather entertaining battle. Unfortunately, all went wrong for me on the final lap. Coming down turn 1, my car had been fine all race over the bumps, and when I was defending, I took a different line to the lines that I was normally taking there, because I was trying to defend from the Honda, and that did it. Threw the back of the car up in the air, spun me round, and I lost the place, which, yeah, a little bit disappointing, though. Still had a pretty damn good fun race, though, nevertheless. At the front, and it was the Silvia that was to go on and take victory. Yeah, ignore the lagged out ghost cars around the place. It's Forza replays, they do that. The Silvia, yeah, he would take a relatively comfortable victory. I'm not sure, we can't quite see the MX-5 in second. Yeah, the slightly damaged Mazda stood no hope of keeping up with the very quick Nissan, and the Toyota would get the last podium spot. Race number 2, and we would go to the Silverstone National Circuit, a track that is, well, it's sort of 3 long straights with a couple of corners in between. This is quite a straight line speedy sort of circuit. Again, turn 1, things were relatively calm as vehicles, the group we're following were 3 wide through the first corner. It was the next section where everything went a little bit wrong, as everyone was trying to get just too many cars into too smaller a space through the sort of the first bit of Maggots and Beckett's as you leave the normal GP circuit. Yeah, it didn't quite work. The Nissan, though, that we were following made a really good start coming from the back of the field, surviving all of the chaos. I was a little bit further back, had to be a lot more cautious at trying to avoid as cars kind of came off the road. Yeah, the Nissan 370 did a really good job of surviving it all, and by the time we came onto the second lap now, he was right up at the front of the field as an MR2. Almost could have been a little bit further in than the second lap. The laps around here pretty damn short, so it goes pretty quickly. Yeah, he very quickly caught up to the leaders. MR2 leading the way. An MX-5 that was very fast through the corners, but had absolutely none of the straight line speed. You see how much the Nissan has just breezed past him. I mean, it's not the longest of straights down there. The Nissan is just God, and the Mazda will then close up the gap through the corners. Behind that, there was a Honda Civic. Like the Nissan, the Honda, me would all kind of started. I think even perhaps the MR2 that he's fighting with here, all started at the back of the field. We all managed to survive the first lap chaos, and we're all fighting to make our way towards the front. The Civic here trying to find his way past the Toyota. Toyota did a good job, though, of defending through Mags and Beckett's, but now it's all about that straight line speed again once you get out of the corner. Yeah, if you have some decent straight line speed around here, overtaking is not too hard. Sure enough, the Civic is just that little bit quicker. It's not a huge advantage over the Toyota here, but the Civic is quick enough to get up the inside. The Mazda, though, of course, is getting mullered on a straight by absolutely everything. Civic very nearly ends up in the back of him in the braking zone, but loses time through the corners, and then you see the MX-5 has gone again, is fighting with the MR2 up ahead, and the Civic is coming back under pressure from the Toyota behind as they come down the start-finish straight. This group at the front, it was really quite good fun, and I was joining in as the MR2 at the front of the train gets very sideways. Mazda carries a lot of speed, but there's nowhere really to go, bumps into the side of the Toyota, and then comes the Civic straight-line speed, and the other Toyota's straight-line speed. All breeze past. Not a particularly good track for this poor MX-5. There was just too many straights. I think the MX-5 and the MR2 got into a little bit of a tangle there. The Toyota slides, the Mazda was slow off the corner, and suddenly my Nissan is there. I am now joining in this little group, and I have pretty decent straight line speed. Not the fastest car here, but my 240SX was pretty good, though, as I get up the inside of the Mazda. You've got to be careful, though, when overtaking this car, that you don't kind of get a little too carried away, because it will fight back when you get through these long turns. Up ahead, the Civic and the other MR2, they were squabbling over what was now, I believe, second place at this stage of the race. And this group, we remained close for quite a number of laps. I was trying to find a way past a Toyota, got boxed in, and suddenly the Mazda's back past. It would sneak up and attack you when you least expected, and then be completely vulnerable the second we went near a straight. The blue and orange MR2, built differently to the other one, was much faster in a straight line, but was struggling through the turns. You see it very sideways through turn 1. The Mazda's trying to go around the outside of my Nissan. That's a brave maneuver to try and do at turn 1. You can do it here, but it is a very tough way to get an overtake done. The blue and orange Toyota tried to get to the inside, locked his brakes, couldn't get it turned. He runs wide, loses 2 positions. The Mazda's fighting back around the outside yet again. He tried so many times, but then we just come to a straight and my Nissan is off, and now I'm chasing down the car ahead. But the blue and orange MR2 is back again. M7 with its ridiculous straight line speed. Yeah, that thing was bloody fast in a straight line down here. He was trying around the outside, but he just doesn't have the grip. The Mazda's gone back past him again. There have been many position swaps on this particular lap. We've not even finished the lap yet as I try to sneak my car up the inside as we leave the final turn, and sure enough, I've got the acceleration, I've got the drive to get past the blue and white MR2. Yeah, it was a pretty frantic lap, that one. Many position changes, and the upshot of it all was I managed to make my way up to a third place and could just start pulling a gap back to the MR2s. Unfortunately, the blue and orange one and the MX-5 would have a bit of a coming together. You saw the Mazda slide across screen there, and they would drop out of the fight. At the front, though, it was the 370Z that would go on to take victory. Made fantastic progress on the opening couple of laps, and while all of us were embroiled in that huge squabble, he could just pull away like uncontested. And yeah, we go on to take a relatively comfortable victory. You can just about see in one of those shots the Civic and me in the background. Me and the Civic were taking such similar lap times, could never close on him, but that was the podium for that race. Our third and final race would go to the Sebring Club Circuit. First corner here, notoriously difficult. There was a little bit of bumping. Again, though, on the most part, we did pretty well at getting through turn one. There was a FailRace that got a little bit fired off through the first hairpin here, but on the most part, for such a tight corner, for the most part, we all got through quite well. The Sylvia was out wide across the grass. They were 3-4 wide trying to go down the back straight, which is always likely to end in trouble. I caused a little bit of chaos. I may have missed my braking point slightly, scraped past the Mazda. Yeah, my bad. On that one, tried to have a lunge. It didn't quite pay off. This Sylvia is trying to get past the Mazda in front of him, but couldn't quite get it to the inside. And again, we have a really big train of cars circulating the track as an RX-7 Buzzbox was having a look. And this group again remained pretty damn close throughout the opening couple of laps, as it really did kind of close up. Sylvia was fighting, trying to find his way past still that MX-5. The RX-7 we're following here is a little bit of rally crossing across the curb, trying to get to the inside of the cars ahead, and it's 2-3 wide up ahead. The MR2 gets caught up, gets slowed down trying to pass the Mazda. That gives the invitation for the Buzzbox to get up the inside of, well, the pair of them as a white MX-5 is now joining in the fun. Buzzbox is very sideways trying to get the power down, and does eventually get the pass done with the MX-5, and just everybody was squabbling for positions here, and this was helping me. After I'd had a fairly poor start and dropped to the back, I was now catching up to this rather large group of cars here. Certainly the Buzzbox came out the best of this lot, but he would very quickly come under fire from the white MX-5 that was incredibly fast in a straight line, but of course the RX-7 was certainly not giving up without a fight as they go side by side. I mean, these are pretty tough corners to get overtakes done on. There's not a very big braking zone for them, and to be trying to stick your car around the outside is not the easiest of passes to get done. The two Mazdas have a little bit of a coming together. The RX-7 gets sideways, and was an AE86 sort of rejoining the track, kind of gets caught up as this huge bundle of cars come past. The Buzzbox, unfortunately, gets a little tangled and drops to the back of the group. Now the white MX-5 reels in the Sylvia with its straight line speed, flies past it in a straight line. Just got to make sure you don't outbrake yourself into the hairpin, and you can just see the huge train of cars. I was there getting involved, going around the outside of a Subaru in the background. It was, yeah, the opening laps were again pretty damn hectic in this one. We would sort of eventually sort of start to spread out a little bit more. I found myself stuck up behind an MX-5 trying to find a way past. For whatever reason, my Nissan, my 240SX have been pretty damn good through the Road America course, and at Silverstone it struggled here. It was not a particularly fast car here at Sebring. I did manage to get myself positioned. I saw the Mazda, he just sort of ran a little bit too deep, could get my car to the inside when he left a gap there, but my Nissan was not particularly fast. It was not suited to Sebring. I don't know why. I like Sebring Club. I think it's a really good track. I'm used to driving here, but I was struggling for pace. The AE86 that had a bit of an off, he came soaring past. This was another mega fast car in a straight line. I just had no answer. I could not keep up with with the Toyota. Far too quick through the corners. It looked like a handful to drive. I will be honest, you can see it sliding around through there, but yeah, far too fast around a lap of this track. Another car that was struggling for pace, Toyota Supra, that was up in second place. Me and him were setting for surprisingly similar lap times, but yeah, they weren't particularly the fastest. This Mazda, after it cleared all of the traffic, would catch up to the Supra and was putting him under a lot of pressure in the closing stages as they run towards the end of the lap. The MX-5 goes round the outside. That's a really tough manoeuvre around the outside of that particular corner because it's a very short run into it. It's not a big braking zone, and the Mazda just has the grip to go right around the outside of the Toyota. Yeah, that's not the easiest of overtakes to get done. Further back, after I had cleared the MX-5, the Silvia was lining up to have a look. The Mazda gets a very big wobble on. It's not the first time we've seen cars have issues out there. You should run the curve ever so slightly, maybe dip a wheel onto the grass. You can get in an awful lot of trouble. And as he's frantically trying to defend, just again sticks the wheel a little bit on the grass, and the Silvia sees his opportunity and goes past. Now the Mazda's in trouble from another buzz box as they come down the start-finish straight. RX-7 goes to the outside, has a little bit more straight line speed, but if you're going to be around the outside at turn 1, that is a pretty damn big hairpin to be going all the way around the outside as they come under brakes. Of course, the MX-5, very small, very light, is very good under brakes there, and the RX-7 just can't quite keep his car alongside, and he was running out of time to find a way past as they came. This was the final lap now, and the MX-5 could just keep himself ahead. Could be defensive if he needed to be, but the RX-7 wasn't quite close enough to really challenge. At the front, though, it was a Mitsubishi Evo 6 that would go on to take victory. Again, another car got to the front early on, and while the rest of us were viciously squabbling over positions, could vanish, completely drove away from the field. Yeah, the Evo 6 was a really rather fast car, and certainly with all of our squabbling, we couldn't keep up. My Nissan really struggled around here to get any pace. It was a funny track. I don't know why it was about Sebring, but yeah, my car did not like it there. However, despite Lag's best attempt at trying to mess things up, he did mess things up pretty good in the first race. I had a fairly decent first race, despite a broken car. There was some close racing for me. Yeah, Lag was a bit of a pain in that. The other races, though, were pretty good fun. Yeah, these cars, I was actually really surprised. I really like my Nissan. It did really quite well up until Sebring. I thought it was a really decent B-class car. Yeah, still plenty of a good racing, even with Lag's best attempt to sabotage us. Anyway, that is it for this week's Versus the Community. The next one shall be held on Thursday, the 10th of September. We will be running cycled production, as this is likely to be possibly the last Versus the Community that we do on Forza 5. We're going to do a cycled production, which means we'll be using completely standard cars. These are very good fun. You often get incredibly close racing as everybody is driving identical vehicles. It's just all down to driver skill. If you want to sign up and take part, then you can via our forums. There will, of course, be the cars that we're going to be using and all of the information that you'll need. In the sign-up thread, I'll put a link in the description to the forums so you can, take part. However, that is it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.